You will never be ready for anything in your life that matters. You will never be ready for anything that fucking matters. And the reason this matters is because it will give you space and grace to just be like, okay, I'm going to let that little piece of perfectionism go for a second. And this, for me, last week came up. I am prepping for maternity leave in a couple months in my business, and I've really been working on growth strategies for promoting my podcast, which I publish on YouTube. I also have on Spotify, Apple, all the podcast platforms. And as I've been thinking through this strategy, I'm kind of sitting in my office, sitting at my desk with my laptop in front of me, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? Okay. I know I need to be doing podcast swaps. I need to be chatting to more people. I need to be sharing my message on other platforms in addition to my platforms that have accessibility. So I'm just like, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And then I just freeze and I'm like, fuck, this is scary. I need to pitch other podcasts. I need to talk to people. I need to have my message clarified. I need to have all my talking points. I'm running through like all these perfectionism tendencies. And as I'm sitting there typing away, like literally like planning my schedule, I'm like, oh no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. And then every week that comes by, I open my calendar and I'm like, oh, I don't have any podcasts coming up. Oh, I'm not ready for this yet. I'm not ready for this. I'm 7.5 months pregnant. I'm not ready for this. Oh, it's not the right week. I keep making excuses on why it's not the right time. And I'm like, you know what? It's fucking never going to be the right time. And if it's not this week, that's not the right time. It's not going to be next week. That's not the right time. I'm always just kind of pushing it off. But what this does is when you keep pushing things off, it means you never get it done. You also can kind of give yourself like, oh, well, it just wasn't the right time. So you kind of like let yourself off the hook a little bit. There's no accountability. And I wanted to be accountable. So I'm like, you know what? Just lesson from me from this situation was like, there's never gonna fucking be a good time. And I think really, truly, that is the whole point, that it's never going to be the right time because we're not in our comfort zone when we're doing these new things. We're actually like thoroughly outside our comfort zone. And that's why it's scary. And that's why we're uplifting and, like crashing through glass ceilings and trying new things. And I like to ask myself in these situations, here the question is, how can I make this as easy as possible? And when I frame it in that sense, like ask yourself now, whatever that scary thing is that you really want to do and you keep pushing off, that thing that you don't feel ready for, how can I make this as easy as possible? Like I am all about streamlining and cutting out the friction to doing the things you really want to love, building that fucking incredible life that I know you really want. How do we like make it less spooky? How do we take down the friction and just like make it doable? And for me, that looks like just approaching a podcast of a friend that I know. It doesn't have to be like going from 0 to 100. You can literally go from like 0 to 5 and still make progress. You can go from 0 to 3 and still make progress. But you're chunking down these big goals and recognizing that like you're never going to feel fucking ready no matter what level you're at in life, no matter what level you're at in business. You're never going to be like, I'm so ready for this. There's always going to be an element of like excitedness, of like nervousness, but that's okay. In fact, I think that's actually preferential. Because when we ask ourselves these questions, how can I make this as easy as possible? It does take away that spooky aspect. And I think even just saying the word easy, you're like, it's just like a mindset reframe of like, oh, I've got this. It's easy now. Like it just like completely changes the whole vibe of everything that you're thinking about. So ask yourself, how can I make this as easy as possible right now? And then maybe do like 2 ideas and then go and follow through on those 2 ideas to show yourself that you can make the progress even if you don't feel ready. Because the whole point is that we're actually pushing past our comfort zones and doing something big and scary and audacious. And that is something that I really, really hope you feel super, super proud of.